Good day and welcome to the Evening Review. I'm Ashley Smith, the news editor of Namibian Sun. Let's take a look at today's front page. And our reporter Jemima Bucas spoke to Nico Smit from the Popular Democratic Movement on a range of issues, and this is their discussion.
Good evening and a warm welcome to all of you that have tuned in tonight. My name is Jemima Bucas. I have today in studio with us the treasurer of the opposition party, official opposition party, PDM, Mr. Nico Smit, who is also a veteran politician. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Smit.
Yeah, thank you for the invitation, Jemima.
Mr. Smit will be talking to us about the stimulus packages rolled out during this time of the coronavirus outbreak, as well as a number of issues the party is concerned with. Mr. Smit, as a party, what is PDM's view on the stimulus package that is rolled out?
Yeah, Jemima, I think we must start at the beginning, where it's coming from. You know, this stimulus thing is over hastily put together. But let's look at it. Why do we have this stimulus thing now? This crisis now? To me, it's nothing more than that SWAPO didn't live up to the expectations. We are now nearly 30 years, or you can say 30 years independent. And in this 30 years, I don't know of any emergency plan that exists in this country. Namibia is a semi-arid country. We have every 3-4 years we have a severe drought. We don't even have a proper drought policy, let alone a drought relief fund. If we look at our neighbors next door, Botswana, they have a proper drought relief program in place. We are about weather-wise and climate-wise the same countries. The Botswana farmers nearly didn't suffer from this drought that ended the other day. Their government were able and capable of supplying to them whatever they need, food for the families, everything. So we don't have. Each and every time when we have a drought, we have to design the wheel right from the beginning. The same with our education system, the same with our health system. There is no real emergency plans in place. So when a thing like this happens, then it caught you off guard and you are in trouble. If you run a small business, very small business, you have to have certain emergency plans in place that if something happened in your field of business, that you can cope with it. You can't go into business if you don't have emergency plans. What will I do if ABC happen and I can't survive? But it's clearly that for the past 30 years, SWAPO only have a nice time. They only had a nice time. They were enjoying the money that they are earning, the spring of the money. It was too nice, te lekker. That's the problem. And now we are facing with this, and now there's no plans in place. Now they had to fall over their feet to get something into place. So we must start from that point of departure. Why are we in this crisis? And it's a serious crisis that's really going to cost us dearly.
Mr. Smit, you've been in politics, sorry for cutting you shortly, you've been in politics for basically over 30 years. Given this crisis that we have on our hands right now, what would you as a PDM member and as a proponent of the party itself, what alternative would you have proposed during a time like this and going forward, post-COVID?
Yeah, you see, it's very difficult now to come up with a plan. To craft a plan like this, emergency plan, because it's only not one one sphere of our economy that you have to look into. You must look at education, you must look at health, you must look at finances, you must look at the economy in total. So you need a lot of plans that you have to sort of combine and to form one national plan. So it's only experts who can come up with proposals and plans to that effect. So what the SWAPO government should have done from day one is to plan, to come up with emergency plans, to put, things in place, to create certain bodies and organizations to come up with plans, emergency plans. If this happened, what can we do? If we, for instance, should end up in a war today, what will be our plan? How will we survive? Any war, you have to, for the unforeseen, you have to prepare for the unforeseen. And there you need experts and professionals to come up with proposals and plans, and then you put a plan together, a national plan. But to ask now, what would you have done in a situation like this? No, that is not an easy answer. If you had done your homework, then you would have had the plan today. But the SWAPO government didn't do their homework. That's why they don't have a plan. That's why we are in this mess.
Now, Mr. Smit, long before COVID-19 broke out, the PDM has also always been on record saying some of the state-owned enterprises need to be nationalized, sold, privatized, for government to cut down on funding, on spending, of course. Going forward, and even amid this crisis, what would you, what alternatives, what ideas would you propose for government to address this issue of state-owned enterprises?
You see, to be honest, this state-owned enterprises is a socialist concept. It's not a real democratic concept. It's a socialist. That is what SWAPO brought with him. With independence. And that's why they set up these parastatals to be in direct competition with the private sector. And you can't. You will not show me, there's maybe one or two parastatals that's really successful. The one is Nam Power, the other is, say, Nam Water, and that's about that. Those two are the only really successful, that really contributes to the GDP of this country. The rest are just, taking us down financially. They are bottomless pits in which every year millions of dollars must be pumped in to keep them on their feet. And if you look at the salary structure of these parastatals, they are comparing with big businesses like Oldtower and Liston, FNB and the banks and those kind of things. That's the type of salaries and benefits that those people running those entities, have. But they are not producing. They are not delivering anything. They are not contributing to the GDP, nothing. We are saying we have 150,000, say for argument's sake, civil servants. No, we have far more. You must also add those in a parastatals. Because the government is also paying their salaries, because they are not even able to pay their own salaries. That the government must also top up and give them money to pay their salaries. So I say that we don't need them. No government really must compete with the private sector. The private sector are there, to create jobs. It's not the work of the government to create jobs. It's the work of the government to create incentives and conducive environment for the private sector to do business and to create jobs. But they are not doing it. They are competing directly with the private sector, but they are not successful. And must we wait another 30 years to prove that these parastatals are not working?
Now, Mr. Smit, when the finance minister announced the 8.1 billion stimulus package, he told the Namibian Sun afterwards that government is not looking at getting more loans to finance the stimulus package, and would rather look at not paying the Eurobond right now. So do you think it would be wise for government to apply for the deferment of long-term loans that ought to be repaid right now?
You know, I read this morning an article. It's on South Africa, on this COVID-19 thing that's going on in South Africa. And it's an expert, a financial expert, and that person says that, and he did a proper analysis of the South African situation. For the South African government, they will need 3 trillion South African rand to get out of this dilemma in which they are at the moment. 3 trillion. Now, where are they going to get that money? 3 trillion. South Africa, with their huge economy. They have to borrow it. Now, where are we going to get it? You know, according to analysis and studies that has been done about the Namibian economy, already we have lost already 50% of our economy. It's gone. It's gone. And there's no plan in place by the government how to revive that 50%. No, nothing. No, nothing. We don't know how these small and medium enterprises, how they are going to get back onto their feet. You know, for the government to bail out the small and medium enterprises, even the big ones. I've been told that one of our biggest companies here, I don't want to mention a name, their loss is more than $1 million per day since the close down. More than $1 million. Now, where are those people going to get that money to come back onto their feet? I don't know. So, you know, they estimate that we will lose at this stage about 100,000 jobs will be lost. People will be on the street. But now, for another 3 weeks, we might lose more than another 100,000. So we will end up with unemployed people, people being put on the street because of there's no plan. There was no plan by government, not at all, how to handle a situation like this. Not that they should have known there would have been this COVID-19 thing, but they had to plan for a disaster, any disaster that might happen. How are you going to handle it? Now, and also the other day, the Prime Minister said, and she's on record, that they will have to downsize the civil service. Now think for yourself, if they downsize the civil service by 20 or 30,000 people, and we are having 200,000 people that's losing their jobs, what will happen in this country? It will be chaos. It will be chaos, and it might lead to serious civil unrest. Crime will not be controlled. Crime will be totally out of hand, because from what must the people live other than then to go and steal, to live, to have bread to eat? We can't blame them. The government made that circumstances under which they had to go and steal to survive.
Now, Mr. Smit, when you've consistently been talking about government not having a plan, is it your view that government has the money, but they're just not planning?
Jemima, we know our economy is down in the drain. The money, the government is, for all practical, you can say, arguments, bankrupt. The same as the city of Windhoek. The city of Windhoek, if the city of Windhoek was a company, they would have not been allowed by law to operate. Because the law is very, very clear on companies. If you go down certain percentage, then you are not allowed, you must close down. You are not allowed to work because you are just creating more and more debt. And who is going to pay that debt? Who? Where are you going to get that money? The central government doesn't have the money to bail out the municipality. So they're just carrying on and on and on, borrowing more and more and more. And I don't know where they are going to end up. Now the same with the government. We are already, our national debt is already, 100 billion. Where are we going to stop? Where? And the more debt you have, the more difficult it will be to borrow money. Because nobody is borrowing money to a bankrupt person, because those are investors' money that must come to us. But if you are not able and capable to run your own financial things and your economy, Who will borrow money to you? And if you get it, the interest will be so high because you are a high risk that you can't afford to take up that loan. So this makes me very, very worried. Where actually is this 8.1 billion coming from? Don't tell me it's our savings, because we don't have savings. We never had savings. There's the budget every year. The former Minister of Finance, Honorable Sletwine, I think he was very good in shifting money from one vote to another vote, and from one ministry to another. I think that to me it was one of his strong points. He know how to move money, and I think he succeeded up to a quite good extent. But you can only do it for so long. Like I said many times, even last year in my budget speech, the budget on paper, I heard that our budget this year will be more than 100 billion. It's only on paper. We don't have that money. There's no way we don't have that money. So we are living from the hand to the mouth. Those taxes and everything that's coming in this month are being used to cover the cost of this month. So this is how the government is running. There's no money. Now to come and tell us it's from our savings. What savings? Yeah, it might be the bonds and that they are now selling, but that also got its limits, Yeah, because bonds are good quality. It's cash. It's hard, but and you can sell it later and those kind of things. But who will buy it? Who will buy it? Social Security and the government's pension fund. Who else will buy those bonds?
Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Smit.
Good.
Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you.
And that's all we have time for today on the Evening Review. Please join us tomorrow. I'm Ashley Smith, the news editor of Namibian Sun.
Yinke kana kutanda kambuburu so corona uvera wope oboma mpunga tanino nzira edi azige derempe pozize moma mpunga ao kugwana ko kambuburu idibwisiro yo kambuburu turo di asi kukohora kupyapyara opyu kusika ko 38 degrees Celsius kuhesara no digu dioroka asi sirikadaneso esi asi dumike mazuru no kana kwa tumbukwira varugani o ukaguki na vavo kuvera sikisamo asimbudi ezi okugava kuna zigwana komaru hadi mavadogo huga ohatu kuka randano rake gava ndizida vedwa zokukadana napo uvera okomapunga kapi asikadana po simbuburuso corona overa o corona kapi ava ugwana kupitira monomwe dizense zikuhumamwe inka imwe yorikadwiso ke kadano simbuburuso corona kuhwa maokogoge kenye siruo kenye apa mwaza siruo zesa di asi kuhwa maokogoge no mema gonosewa gomuchi rikuga kerigwane kero monkara pamwe rikara ure novantusi na nosokusika pozometera zimwe gwedi avavana kukohora di kuwechimwisa sesupika kukwata komeho ezuru ntani kokana maoko goge kukwata komaruha gokuri siga okunomvura kugwana kambuburu aka corona mukuri kwatanye komeho ezuru di kokana no maoko agagana karaka buburu aka corona takapitirenye monke di ozo kuwechumwisanta ni kukohwera posikehe di koda zoru kokona ndoroge kudumika kana koze komazuru no gazoru kokona roge di nosikehe sinene tokohora di to wechumwisa ovehena ozugume sikehe oso onoruganisa no usibu igazerera ntandi usiri igazarera simbuburu sosipe kuvura kusigwana kono mwedi mononja dova Chinese usiri hawe simbuburu somo mapunga kuri hanan sene muntu ogu anakara naso takohora kuwechumwisa disende tahesere pokugwanesa munku no momata gomazeze ikadiso igazarera kuri kuhwa kwa mazuru nkenye siruo kukadanapo kambuburu ko corona usiri hawe kwato umbangi wakare rapo asi kuri wankenye siruo no memago no sewago muti kupopera vantuko kambuburu ko corona po keri ko bangi ko kudira mkumo kakarapo asi kiri kuhwa no memago no sewago muti kuvura kuvatera vantu vaveruke usimbu kesa nye maraka pi azikadanapo uvera omomapunga igazarera imwe ina kurihamesera mononkedi dokuri sigasiga dokuhanesa nombudi kutanda asi kuripombera morutu narunye nomevago nose wago muchi kuvura kukadanapo kambuburo ko corona di asi kuri kuchunga ojik di kumwa mema gomanzi kuvura kukuha kambuburu akako corona morutu usiri kwato ubangi wo mukumo simpe wo kuvura kupameka igazarera ei mukukwamano nzira do uhuga do kaguki kumwe no kuri kuhwa komako nkenyesiruo tani kukadanapo kuri gumako marutu kuvura kuvatera kese supiko yomukagu yokabuburu ko corona aka igazarera ekukutiko yo mawoko kudipagapo kabuburu ko corona usiri hawe ekukutiko yo mawoko kapi arie dipagapo kambuburu akarete sapo overa o corona anonye kuri kuhwangenye siruo ko mawoko no memago no sewago muchi mawoko kokuzera wa hepa kuga kukutika di kuga kokota no sikehe esi sinazere igazarera moinema gwedi yopyu ne yokufu tani kulya nkenye siruo ayudi asi organic di kuri kuhwa no mema gomagenya kwa idiburura asi inzo nonzira dimwe na vavura kuruganesa vantu ipo vari kuge no kambuburu aka usiri kwato ubagi ou unakukwatesako ei igazarero asi akaka buburu ko corona kukahanesa pampepo zira yohuga zo kuvura kurikadana nyamoge odire kugwana kambuburu akako corona tudizozo zo kuri kuhwa ko maoko goge kenye siruontani na kukadana po kuri guma ko marutu no vantu peke avampo amwe vanakala no kabuburu ko corona ezi izo nzira zo kuvura kukadana po tubu pamwe tunakara ko maoko goge kumwe no kukadana po no mkagu edi na ditudirira ko kuri kwatano ko mazuru di ko kanagoge igazarera mudio unene kudwara yirikadane so ina kudumike kanakoge kumwe no mazuru goge henyesiruo usiri vanuo vakaguki na vavana kupira simpe kurikida irikidiso yovera ou wakambuburu ko corona vana hepa kudwara sirikadaneso asina si vadumika kokana no komazuru sense kuna kukohora no kuwechumwisa kenyesiruo kunikira asi pamwe kuvura okare no kambuburu akako corona no magazarera ayo kurugana unene nsene tuikwatakane sa kumwe mukuri kuhwa ko maoko nkenyesiruo kumwe no kurugane sa no nzira dimwe hena doukaguki uhaku igazarera no muti dokutintika vakwaita vomorutu kuvura kukadanapo no kuhakura kambuburu akako kape kana wizako corona usiri no muti edi dokutintika vakwaita vonorutu kapi adirugana pokukadanapo kambuburu ko corona kapi adikadanapo didihakure kambuburu aka kawizako corona posiro esingesi kutupuno muchi dokuvura kuhakura di kukadana po kambuburu akako corona nye ano avavanakara noirikidiso yo kambuburu akakuvura kuli hakwisa nono muchi dokurugumwisa upyungwe di panado nono kwao goso ado kuvura kudigwana moitora yo kuradesa no muchi